Welcome to our Insight series on organizational well-being. Our question for this week is, what does a typical results-driven employee wellness program look like? Number 13. In describing a typical results-driven employee wellness program, let's first look at the primary wellness targets, and those are the behavioral targets that you have as your focus of your wellness program. Everything from the traditional wellness program model that's worked for you and that is continuing to be satisfactory and satisfying to the employees. Plus, you're adding the additional target of productivity, injuries, and that includes all four domains of injuries: work-related injuries, home-related injuries, vehicular-related injuries, and recreational-related injuries. Healthcare utilization issues, so we're dealing with things like emergency room use or urgent care use, hospitalization options, all of those kinds of issues. And we're usually adding something about presenteeism. Now, presenteeism is the loss that occurs in productivity when someone stays at work and they have an underlying health problem. Resiliency, which deals with the issue of how capable are you to be able to deal with the requirements of your job and requirements of your life and your choices. Integrated programming is where we begin to start thinking about how can we have each of the various wellness program activities and interventions actually reinforce and support each other, as well as other issues that are important in the workplace and for that population. Health consumerism gets us into the area of how do we help people use the healthcare system more effectively, and that's what the National Academy of Sciences calls healthcare literacy. Now, the typical interventions that essentially go along with a results-driven wellness program include everything that is working for you from the traditional wellness program model or strategy, plus an annual HRA incented and used for targeting with an 80% of the population as your threshold or desired threshold or goal. Risk stratification, which allows us to deal with groups of people with common kinds of issues in terms of their health and wellness. And incented interventions. So we begin to start thinking more seriously about how to connect incentives to a variety of different kinds of interventions that we might offer. Telephonic coaching is oftentimes one of the components that begins to be involved in a results-driven kind of wellness programming. We also can have medical self-care and consumer health education, either learning management system modules or workshops that the employees and or their family members can attend. We also tend to focus then on injury prevention, so we may do some things like being able to have a picture or an artist render a front room view that has a number of different safety potential problems in it, and then asking people to sort them out and to identify them. So there are a variety of different interventions we can use around things like home injury prevention. Benefit-linked incentives, so we begin to start putting more of our, perhaps a reduction in premium contribution associated with involvement and activities and achievements in the wellness program. We can use wellness mentors to help people actually make changes that have been successful and support and other employees being able to do those similar kinds of areas of behavior change. We can use wellness achievement incentives, so we can begin to work with what are called outcome-based kinds of wellness criteria. We can use a resiliency initiative for productivity, so that may help people be able to be more resilient to the demands of maybe long shifts or 410s or a variety of different kinds of working situations. We can also serve more spouses, so we can begin to offer some of these programs to our spousal population. And we oftentimes start to do integrated programming where we look at integration within the wellness program interventions themselves, integration between the wellness program interventions and other organizational internal groups like EAP or Return to Work or the Fitness Center or Occupational Medicine. And then the issue around level 2 integration, it is within the organization. Level 3 gets us into external resources. So the local YMCA or the local fitness clubs, and offering corporate discounts and being able to provide referrals to a sleep clinic or to a weight management program in a local hospital. So those are the 3 levels of integration. We cover those much more deeply in our level 2 certification, certified wellness program manager level. And it tends to use the results-driven wellness framework. And we're going to be looking at that in a moment as the logic structure that these programs fit into. And when we look at the broader issue of participation, the results-driven wellness model or program model or strategy is the highest level of participation usually, and it's between 65 and 95% of employees actively engaged in the wellness program. The approximate cost per employee per year starts at the top of the range for our traditional wellness program and goes up to $500. So between $200 and $500 is the usual price range per employee per year. Now remember, this particular financial estimate does not include how you handle incentives, because there's lots of ways to have low-cost incentives. You can connect it to your premium contribution in your health plan or a flexible spending account. So there's a variety of different ways to do that. In addition, it also deals with the issue of not including how your staffing is covered. So that can be through a contractual basis. It can use volunteers. So we tend to take those 2 elements out of our estimate. So that $201 to $500 really represents the kind of a pure wellness vendor budget, where you're purchasing things for your employees and or spouses. Likely return on investment is going to be higher than the traditional model. So you generally see somewhere between 1 to 2.5 in terms of cost-benefit ratio to 1 to 6.5. That converts into a 250% return on investment per year, or up to a 650% return per year. So in summary, this is what a typical results-driven employee wellness program looks like. And in summary, the typical results-driven employee wellness program is primarily characterized by strong incentives, deep integration, and a long-term behavior orientation. The results-driven wellness program is usually associated with robust evaluation and documented results, and it's also the most effective strategy for employee wellness programming. Now, for more information on this topic, put the following search strings into your web browser: results-driven wellness programs, highly effective employee wellness programs, results-oriented employee wellness. Next week, we will be addressing the question, what is the best logic framework to use in employee wellness programming? For more information, visit our website at www.chapmaninstitute.com.